Kelsey, you guys shoot barely over 30%, but still climb out with a win. What did you guys find on the defensive end to be able to get this one?
I think the last week and a half we've been focusing on BJ specifically and Karima. Christmas have done a really great job of telling us what it meant to defend in order to score in this league. And I think that that should be our goal throughout the course of the year, not waiting to defend and get stops. And I mean, especially when you're not hitting individually, I think I would have liked the shot well, but I think defensively, if we could continue to do that early and not so late, we won't be in this position.
You said you guys weren't hitting, including you. Did you feel like there was something wrong with your offensive process today as a team, or just some missed shots you guys would like normally?
I just think some of you would like. I think, specifically for me, if people go under on the ball, I'm going to shoot it. And I just, obviously it sucked not going in, but hopefully in the future it will. I think that overall, though, offense is not our problem. I think that will cultivate itself chemistry-wise as we get to know each other and where each other likes the ball, and et cetera. But I think defensively, that's just an effort thing. And I think that for us to have that run that everybody's talking about, we got to defend. Got to.
Yeah, you guys were down 15 in the second quarter, then you went on that 17-5 run. Just what sparked that, and what did Steph say to you guys in the huddle?
I think it was less Steph and more of our group, a combination of our vets and even Caitlin. Once you see one go in and you cultivate 3 stops and you're able to get those stops and go on transition and score, I think you just start to have full good energy. Additionally, I think that the other part was just having a form of grit and respect for yourself as a player. I think anybody that wants to compete and win, you're going to dig deep and get what you need to get done. And I think that's what you saw in the second quarter.
Kind of bigger picture, when you guys came into the year last year, it was a lot of talk about just making the playoffs. And this season, you bring in a whole bunch of championship experience.
Yeah.
How different do the expectations feel this year?
I think it does feel a little different. I think that's the obvious part. You bring in so much firepower, right? I think that the ones that's been here, there were changes made to make sure that we can get better and find what we need, to be our best selves. But I think that it's a good thing. I think having these guys here and cultivate winning. I never won at the highest level, so I'm learning that myself, as well as AB and Caitlin. So we want to figure it out with the older guys and the ones that's had a chance to win at the high level. But I do think them two coming to us is also a new experience for them, new threads, new everything. So I think collectively it's going to take a while, but I think it's worth it.
Kelsey, what did you think of the versatility Sophie offered you off the bench, but also the energy she brought as well?
Sophie's that wild card, man. Her and Lexi together. I think their energy, when I talk about effort defensively and just figuring it out and having a willingness, that's Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hall. They do an unbelievable job of just being present, being where they need to be, taking the necessary play. That kind of stuff you can't teach, and I think that's how you win games. And I think not just them, if we can all just do that early and consistently, we have a good chance to be more like Sophie.
You've always been a scorer.
Yeah.
And you've always had success. Is that like an inbred confidence so that if you do have a slow start you're going to start falling?
I think so. I think for me, I don't shoot every day for no reason. Obviously, it's tough when you don't see a couple go in, especially when you feel like you worked on it. I just was on this same court yesterday about 3 or 4 o'clock, shooting the same shot. So it sucks that it didn't go in, but I think having that mindset, hey, I'll work on this. I believe in my preparation, and obviously it sucks when it doesn't happen, but I can't dwell. So I'm gonna keep shooting the ball, taking the right shots, not just for me, but for my team.
You and Caitlin played every game last year, high minutes. First of all, what was it like without her being out there, and then also how have you processed, Steph talking about we need to manage minutes more. Yeah. You won't be as high, but we want more productive minutes.
I like it. I'm getting, you don't get younger in this league, so you do whatever you have to do to obviously be your best version of yourself. And there's going to be times during the game where I need to be the best version of me, and Kaylee needs to do the same thing. And I think with a little time on a bench or just a water break here and there, it's beneficial for us. And I think if you want to win, you're willing to sacrifice knowing that your role is different. It's a little shift here and there, but I think it's worth it.
And about the communication, that was the biggest thing that stood out. Everyone was talking to someone. Yeah. Does that come naturally to this group, or is that everyone kind of following that message from Saturday?
I think it comes from everybody. Even with Caitlin being out today, Her PG leadership was vital. Down the stretch when we were losing, we heard her voice, we heard how in tune that she was. And so I think over the course of time, it'll be kind of like you don't have to even think about the communication part. But I think right now for us to get through these games, communication is heavy. Even from the ones that's not playing or what you saw have it. So it's important.
Kelsey, it felt like the competitive energy was high for a preseason game. How does that drive you? And do you welcome that?
I love it. Like I said, that game was I don't think anybody in this room thought we'd go into OT against the DC Mystics. So I think that collectively and over time, like you want to be around people that want to win. And I think right here, this group that we have, we want to win. Whether we're on the court, whether I'm on the court or not, I want to see others win. But I think we all have that willingness to we got to figure it out. And I think that's the best part about our group though this year. Like your Sophies, your Lexies, but even the young ones that you haven't seen, your Bree Halls, KK, like we all have that sense of we're not gonna lose if we got a chance to fix it. So I think this is our mindset as a group right now.
You mentioned wanting to evaluate defense specifically today, holding them under 40% shooting. What did you like about that into the floor, especially as it helped you guys get back into the game?
I liked our aggressiveness. I liked the fact that we picked up, pretty much 94 feet, that they didn't get anything easy. I mean, it's not often that you come out with a win and game 3 shoot 30% from the floor. And I felt like our defense really held, gave us an opportunity to get back in the game, gave us an opportunity to finish the game. We will evaluate certain lineups and different things that we did. But most importantly, I felt like we competed at a really high level on that end of the floor.
You mentioned the shooting percentage on the offensive end. Is there anything that stood out to you problematically, rhythmically? What kind of kept you guys from getting going on that end?
Yeah, I mean, nothing that you don't expect at this time of the year. I think our spacing, our timing, rushing through some of the points of execution, screening, passing the ball ahead, putting some pressure on the defense early in our offense. I felt like we got a little bit stagnant. The ball was not moving at 1 second. But that's all stuff that's going to clean up, and it's going to come with time. And I think when you've got so many new players and a new system, it's going to take a moment to go. But again, the fact that we were able to shoot as poorly as we did and still come out with a win is a credit to this group and their commitment on the other end.
What did Sophie's energy mean to you guys today?
Oh my God, Sophie's a dog. She just is. She's a competitor. She's versatile, so she allows us to do different things. Like she plays with such a toughness. She's huge, and she's going to be for us all season long. But what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Hell, even on the sideline. I mean, her communication, everything. She's definitely an X factor.
You've talked about having like a player-led team, and Kelsey talked about that 17-5 run in the second quarter. That was a lot player-led. Just what did it mean to kind of have them take the lead on that?
It's huge. It's exactly what we need to have. We've got to have that accountability to be able to problem solve in live action. You can't take a timeout always to problem solve. We have to over communicate, and that's part of the being selfless. Like sometimes you have to give in different ways, and communication is an easy way for you to give. And I felt like that group really started doing that. The intensity level picked up because of that. When you hear somebody behind you, they have your back. When you hear the call on the screen early, it allows you the time that you need to process it and then put that processing into action. And I thought that it gave us a really good lift.
And Caitlin seemed pretty active on the bench today. Just what was her leadership like? Just kind of on the sidelines, and do you have a status for her for tomorrow as well?
Yeah, first of all, her communication was outstanding. Seeing different things on the floor and being able to communicate that in huddle. I heard a lot of different voices, but when you're not playing, it gives you a different perspective. And I felt like she did a really good job of that with her teammates, and she did a really good job of that with us and the coaching staff. Just different things that she's seeing, different pointers for us in terms of maybe even communication style. I thought she was really engaged, and I felt like at one point she wanted to go back and put her uniform on and come out and play. As far as status update, she had a lot of progress in the last 24 hours, and that was our goal. Our goal is to see how she progresses every day. So we'll see what happens and see how she feels after the workouts that she went through today, and then hopefully she'll be ready to go tomorrow.
You touched on Sophie, but Lexi as well kind of brought that similar energy, and they shared the court a lot together, especially at the end of the game. What did you like about what they were able to do together, especially defensively?
Well, first and foremost, they play so hard. They play with multiple levels of effort. They're both just tough as nails. They have length. They use their length really well. Their activity level on the defensive end and offensively. I mean, they're like mirror images of one another. I mean, the way that they can cut, the way that they can spread the floor, and what they bring on the defensive end of the floor. So I like them playing on the floor together. I thought they played off of one another really well. We put Sophie in position where she was running the point guard, right? We put Lexi in position at the end of the game where she was running the point guard. And so I'm thankful to have players like that who are comfortable being uncomfortable and doing what's necessary for our team to find success. I mean, that's part of, one of our core values is be selfless, and sometimes that means playing out of position. And I thought they both did a great job of that, but really like their energy and competitive spirit.
Time for 2 more games.
What did you think of Michaela Timpson, her pro debut, and what she gave you? I guess overtime gives you an opportunity to see a little bit extra.
Man, I'll smile every time she's on the floor, and you just see some of the things that she does that you can't teach. I thought she played with great pace. And oftentimes with young players, they get sped up in environments like this. And I thought she played with great pace. She didn't move and crowd space. When she didn't know what to do, she stopped and she took a breath before she created an action. And those are really good habits for young players to have. Told her one time that she needed to have every rebound, and I think she was in there, at least got a hand on the ball every single time. I thought she looked really good.
With the communication as great as it was from coaches, from players, why do you think everyone's so in tune with one another just a week in?
I think the commitment to being the best that we can be, right? There's no doubt that these returning players want an opportunity to compete at the highest level and position ourselves to have success. They embrace the veteran leadership that we brought in, the experience that we brought in. They want the challenge, right? They want to meet the moment. And these veteran players understand, and they recognize and respect the competitive fire from our young players. And so I think overwhelmingly, there's just a strong respect for one another. And they're all competitors. I mean, every single player that's in our locker room is a competitor. They want to be the best. They want to sacrifice whatever needs to sacrifice so that we can be the best team that we can be.
Sophie, we've heard a lot about your energy from Kelsey and Stephanie White in this game just now. Is that something innate for you in the way you play that you've always kind of had?
Yeah, it's just kind of who I am. I want to pour into my team as much as possible, and I'm pretty in tune with my body. I can read a room pretty well, and so when I see we're lacking a little bit, you got to step up. But if we're good, you're just there to encourage and give people confidence.
How much do you feel like you and Lexi fuel each other when you're in lineups at the same time?
I just love her. I just think the defensive intensity that she brings is like unmatched. Like, I told her, we were just in there, I was like, dude, you could be defensive player of the year. Like, depending on how this goes, like, you just have great energy, and she's just skilled in that way. And the way she cuts off the ball, her shooting ability, I think we're a lot alike besides the defensive end. So, I'm proud of her. I think that we're just starting to learn how to play with each other, with our rhythm, our chemistry, and just going to be better from here on out.
As a team, you guys did not chew well today. Is there anything on the offensive end you thought was off or that needs to be worked on heading into tomorrow?
Man, it's just, we're a new team, right? You have a lot of newcomers, you have a new front office, a new coaching staff, you have a new system, and so it's going to take a little bit of time. This is the first time that we actually got up and down like that. And so I'm not worried about it. I think for us, it's more on the defensive end. I think offensively, I think everyone knows that, we're a powerhouse there, but for me, it's defensively. How can we be a powerhouse on both ends?
Steph has talked a lot about wanting a player-led team, and Kelsey said that was kind of the case during that 17-5 run in the second quarter. Just how did you see that in that run, and how did you kind of try to lead in that situation?
I think it was defensively. I think they killed us in every quarter except the second quarter, and that's when we really picked up our defense. And so for us, it's just having each other's backs. It's making sure that you're constantly communicating up there to give your other players confidence to get up in the ball. And I feel like the more you talk, the better your rotations are. And then when you're talking, you don't have no choice but to listen to your voice sometimes. And so I think that we kind of went on that little run there because of our defense.
A lot of new faces, yourself included, obviously, come in this year and kind of raise the expectations for this team. Do you feel kind of those expectations coming into the season, and how do you guys manage those?
Yeah, I think, at the end of the day, we're all competitors and we're here to win, right? And so I think this is a fresh start for a lot of people. It's a new era for a lot of people. They have a great people that they kept from last year, who are young, they want to do the dirty work, they want to win, and then you have a lot of championship experience that are brought here. And so just the combination is super smart. Now you just got to put it together, right? And I think that's going to take a little bit of time because there's a lot of new people. But I think at the end of the day, when everyone's willing to kind of put the egos aside and do the dirty work and get your teammates involved and trust that good things are going to happen.
So if you talk about building culture, chemistry, things like that, and obviously you get heated in the games like today, what do it mean to have to want to have
What are you talking
I mean, it's competitive nature, but what do it mean to have to want to step up for you in that moment like that?
Man, I'm not surprised. Actually, DB was my bet when I got drafted out to Phoenix. And so I know she's not a fighter, but she's not scared to get with it a little bit. And kind of random thrown to the ground. Maybe I need to hit the weight room. That was not a good look. But she had my back, and I think that's what it's all about, right? I think that we have a huge target on our backs, and I don't think that's a secret. And so making sure that our locker room's like this, and that will naturally flow onto the court. And I think you guys saw that today.
2 more.
You had like Caitlin take over a huddle, Austin took over a late. So many of you guys would pull each other aside. Why do you feel like you guys are so in tune with one another already?
It's what it's about, right? I think when you really do have really, really good people and you guys all have a common goal that you're trying to get to, that no one takes offense to anything, right? I think a couple of those huddles like, hey, so if you got to get better on defense there. And I was like, yeah, dude, you're right. And so it's constantly communicating and it's not being defensive. Everyone's just trying to help. And I think you have a really good group of people. You have a great group of coaches. And again, I just think it's a great combo that if you're willing to have a growth mindset, good things are going to happen here in Indiana.
There was a stretch when you had a number of key plays and scored a lot, and the crowd really started noticing you more and responding to you. But you also reacted back to them. Do you enjoy that interaction with the crowd? That kind
Heck
of stuff?
yeah! No, I really do think that's what it's all about, right? I think you want to make sure that your home court is special to you as a team, but you want to make it hard as heck for other people to come in here to Gamebridge, and they don't want to play here, right? And I think with that, as an energy player, you got to get your fans involved. That's our 6th man right there, and they're loud, they're feisty, they're sassy, and it's like when you get them involved, then it's game over, right? You're in the other team's head. And so for me, especially when you have a couple runs put together, defensive stops, it takes someone just to get the fans involved, and then the other team feels that. Because I've been on the other end of it, and it sucked. And so now that I'm here, I can embrace it, and we can have some fun here.